Hello and welcome to another Cards and Cardboard digital review. I'm Benjamin Hernandez and I'm here to present the Witcher Adventure game. Alright, so the Witcher Adventure game is based on the popular IP of The Witcher, of course. And I can't really give you a storyline where it's at because I am not terribly familiar with the Witcher franchise. Although I do know it is kind of a dark Norse theme in, fantasy worlds, where you are playing a potion-chugging badass called Geralt. You have a dwarf with many companions. I don't remember his name. You've got a magic user and some sort of bard. I mean, that's all I can really say at this point. I've played the game a few times, never online yet, but this game does have online support, which is very nice if you're looking to play a game with multiple people. This is kind of in the same line of games as Armello and Talisman, where it is kind of a adventure game where you're going around and dealing with quests and trying to either get to the end or rather complete the end state of the game. In this case, you're actually playing for a number of victory points. So we're going to go kind of right into it and start off with some random characters. Geralt's a good character to start with. Go ahead and put everyone else there. Now, this is how things go. You got a number of main quests, and the default game is 3 quests. The short game is 1 quest, and the long game is 5 quests. And whoever has the most victory points when they complete that number of quests, or when somebody completes that number of quests, will win the game. Now, we're just going to go right into this and kind of explain things as we go through it. Alright, so here's the board. It's got many different areas in there where all the characters kind of start off and go around, but right now we're going to focus on these quests. So these are our main quests. These are big quests that we have to actually complete, and they have a number of different steps to them. So we have Aviri and Malibor and A Stranger in Danger. Both of them require 2 physical clues, which are listed up down here. There's clues and then there's proof. In this case, we need 2 physical proof. This one has a battle associated with it. This one also has a battle associated with it. But they also have a number of side quests that can also be taken for additional victory points. Victory points are also listed on the side here. And of course, since the goal is to get the most of them, you're going to want to try to get the ones that are a little easier to obtain. In this case, these are very similar. So I'm probably going to end up just taking the first one and working towards that. Now, they also have a support quest, which is something that another player, whenever they're on your space, may spend to accomplish to get a number of victory points. But it also helps you out because you get a benefit as well. And then there's the consequence, which is if you do this, you get this reward/consequence. Yeah, it's not the best explained for this, so we're just going to choose a quest and kind of show you what's going on here. So here's the board. I start up here, and each of these territories has 2 different colors associated with them, which is the type of proofs in the game. So you've got clues for purple, blue, red, and then there's also gold as an additional resource. So every turn you'll be taking 2 actions, which are denoted down here, and moving along this board to gather proof and attempt to finish your quest. So the first thing I need to do is I need to get 2 combat proofs here, and then take them to Malibor, which, as we can see, is right down here. Now, the areas are broken up based on these little colors here and the banners, and they'll basically have these bad things happen in them. Usually it's going to be monsters or some sort of foul fate, as they call it, which will hinder your progress. Right now we only have foul fate on the board. There is 1 enemy in this region here. It's a bronze. They come in 3 different levels for difficulty: bronze, silver, and gold. And they will appear basically at the end of your turn, depending on the situation. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and travel. When you travel, you get to basically take a free clue for that region. So I'm going to take a red clue, and I'm getting close to completing that. Now, each character has their own exchange rate for these, and those are kind of explained in this little table of contents. So you can actually go through and read many of the rules of the game just by clicking on those, or finding out the player info here. So I've got a special dice that I do, I have a special action that I can do, and then I've got a specific resource trade amount. So in this case I'm going to need 6 clues in order to get those 2 proofs. If it was mental or wisdom base, I would have to deal with blue clues, which exchange rate for 5 to 1, and then 7 to 1 for the social thing, I believe. Actually, let me go into the menus for just a sec here and kind of show you what's going on here. So we have our actual activity log up here for each of the players, which is a very nice thing when you're playing long games like this. I cannot actually adjust the volume at this time, so I apologize. I'm going to go ahead and go into the options menu outside my computer here and turn that down. So that should give us a bit more use there. It is very good music, though, I will say. So I can basically do one of 2 things now. I can investigate this area, which gives me the ability to draw an investigation card and resolve it, or I can develop myself, which will probably be the best way of describing leveling up your character. So I'm going to go ahead and do a development. So I've got a deck of cards here, and I get to draw 2 and keep 1. And my special ability for this character is potion brewing. So I've got 2 types of things here. I've got Heliotrope and Petrie's Fillery, which is a Witcher sign and then a potion. Witcher signs are kind of the magic that the Witchers actually have. Potions are the special alchemical things that they prepare in advance to help them out. And that's kind of shown in this little icon in the corner. Whenever you do a brew action, which is my special action, I get to actually place a little marker on any of these cards to show that I actually have the resource to spend in the future. So I got a choice here. Once per battle I may spend a Witcher sign result to have each shield produce 1 additional shield, which is nice, keeps me alive. At the start of battle you may spend 1 for these and produce a Witcher sign. Well, I'm going to go ahead and go with this because the defense is nice. And it doesn't really require me to do much else. So I'm actually kind of done with my turn, so I just go into resolve here, and I see that I'm facing a wolf. Wolf has 2 attack and 1 shield. Before rolling, advance the war track, which basically is how monsters and foul fates come out onto the board. If I fail the offense, I suffer a foul fate. If I fail the defense, I suffer a wound. And I'll get into how wounds work here after a combat here. Alright, so I get to roll my dice. And I actually have these 3 special character dice associated with me, whereas most characters have 1 or 2 other dice of their own type. And then there's these generic dice, which we're just going to go ahead and clear this because it's so easy. I could use my special ability, but I'm going to succeed on the shield roll anyways. So that monster is killed. I get a number of victory points sometimes for that, which unfortunately I don't. And I'm going to go ahead and end my turn. So now I get to see the other players' turns. Tila is a magic player who basically, when she develops, she gains spells that she has to actually prepare in advance. And it looks like she's gone after one of her quests already. She was trying to investigate, she failed, and she took a number of wounds for that. So, the way wounds work is that you put them over actions to denote what kind of HP you suffer. And there's 2 different types of these. There's standard wounds and then critical wounds or mortal wounds. And mortal wounds are much harder to get rid of. Now you have an action called the rest action, which is never covered up. The rest action, you can remove 2 wounds, or you can remove 1 critical wound. Now in this case, Yapner got a foul fate, which he decided to put on one of his investigate actions. Whenever you use an action that has a foul fate token on it, you will suffer a foul fate on top of doing that action. So keep that in mind. There's a lot of badness that happens in this game and a lot of risk management. So you gotta worry about that. Alright, so now it's going on my turn, which is good, because we kind of want to start moving our way down to Malibor, but if we can see where we can travel to, that place is going to give me a free heart back, which I'm fine. This place is going to give me purple. That place is going to give me blue. That place is going to give me any color I like. So we're going to go ahead and travel there. And we'll maybe face a bronze monster too. I'm going to keep going up here. And I'm going to go ahead and do the investigate action. So I get to choose a number of these investigation decks, and they will give me a random story event that's going to happen on my investigation. So I have a meeting with a bounty hunter. He hunts men, you hunt monsters. Your prey differs, but the hunt brings you together. You meet from time to time and exchange information. This time he gives you a valuable tip about a fierce beast lurking in the nearby mountains. I have a task now. This is kind of like a mini-quest. I must defeat a silver monster, but as a reward I receive 1 victory point and 1 red clue, which is pretty nice. Got really nothing else I can do here. I would like to get the sub-quest down here. I could hire mercenaries for support, so let's go ahead and do that. So I've completed one of the side quests, which gives me 3 victory points. I also have this one where I can spend purple victory points, which I'm going to probably worry about in the future. Now, when you run out of health on your track, you actually start losing victory points. So it's very important that you try to not take too much damage in battles or foul fate, and try to be as successful as possible. Now, since this is kind of just an intro to the game, I'm probably not going to go too much in depth here. But there are a lot of strategies for each of the different players, and again, these combats are a little swingy. Every character actually does have a fair chance to do combat if they prepare. And, you know, you always get some sort of little reward for taking on monsters as well. I mean, one, you're helping out your fellow players as well as yourself, but, you know, you also have this chance to go around and maybe get some special benefits from killing monsters. But most of the time, they're just kind of there to hinder you. I mean, what else is there really to say about this game? It's very much in that Talisman line where you're kind of going around and doing these little side adventures to try to complete your main quests. Since we're only playing to one, the quickest way for me to complete the game and win is to go and complete my quest and not worry about the side quests as much. And that's kind of one of those risks you're going to have to take. Although you can always go and try to support other people as well. So I can actually look and see what they kind of need under their support icons here. So in this case, 3 purples and 3 blues, which I do not want to deal with. So there's 2 types of travel actions here. You got the standard travel where you get to move to the nearest adjacent place, or you got the fast travel, which allows you to move 2 places, but you suffer a foul fate. And we're going to go ahead and go to Novigrad here, or somewhere else like Wisma, or... yeah, let's go here. That's a good way to show you. I don't have the gold to cross the river, or across the sea, but I can travel here, pick up some more clues, exchange those in for proof, but now I suffer a foul fate. So, downpour, I become delayed and suffer 1 foul fate. So now I have to put a foul fate on anything I do, which I'm going to go ahead and say next time I do a investigate, I'm going to have to worry about that. Now, delayed means you actually only take 1 action on your next turn, which is kind of foul in itself. Oh good, there's a silver monster. I'll be able to deal with that next turn. Alright, sorry, I forgot to end my turn there. Now, I've played the physical version a little bit, not as much as I'd like. There are a lot of components to deal with, so the digital implementation is very nice. And you get to see all the dice rolls, which is something that not a lot of online games really allow you to do some days. However, I have to say, the nature of the game is brutal, and it would be nice to have a good set of friends to talk with. I would not recommend a pass and play unless you're playing on the tablet version of this game. But otherwise, it's really well polished. The components are all pretty similar to that of the Fantasy Flight ones. You even got the little 3D models of characters. However, if the cards are this stark, I really wish they would put a little bit more effort into the cards in the future. Alright, so yeah, more foul fates are coming up. But I get to pretty much see where everyone's going. Which, you know, it's fair. I mean, you kind of need to know what people are doing and what their little side quests are. and if their side quest has been complete. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and develop, which gives me more abilities. Once per battle, you may spend a Witcher sign to have each shield produce an extra sword result. Once per battle, I may suffer a foul fate in order to produce a Witcher sign. Again, I'm going to go with that, because that is very nice. And I'm going to go ahead and go here and just kind of deal with whatever's in the country here. I'm going to get my information here. That way I can kind of maybe work on something or a side quest. I'm going to resolve my foul fate now. I'm going to go ahead and deal with a silver monster. Alright, before rolling, I suffer a wound, which is bad. But if I'm successful, I receive a victory point and a money, which is great. Let's try that. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and say I'm going to get wounded there. Alright, let's roll some dice. Okay, I do not beat him, but I get to stay alive. So I don't suffer foul fate, but I don't beat him either, which is unfortunate, but, you know, what can you do? That's the nature of these games, you know. Random dice luck really determines how well you do, and, you know, how intricate the game's mechanics can be to you as well. What I do like, though, is that each of the dice facings is pretty simple to understand. The eye is magic, the Witcher sign is a Witcher sign, swords and shields. If I was playing the physical version of this game, it would be nice to maybe have some extra dice if they only have the one set of white dice. But, you know, pickers can't be choosers for those kind of components, especially when they seem to be like sculpted dice in the physical version. So I'm gonna probably think about wrapping this up here, since I kind of showed you what's going on and what the different victory conditions of the game are. Obviously, whoever has the most victory points by the time the quest number is complete wins the game, which that's about it. I like that. It can make the game run a little long, though. And that's probably like one of the biggest problems I've had with this game so far, is everything will take a while. I'm gonna go ahead and develop again. Alright, potions. I'm gonna go ahead and go that. Gonna brew some potions here. And then probably just gonna end my turn and try to battle this fleeter again. Yep. And I'll put that there. See, the thing is when you put a wound on travel, or fast travel, you actually cannot travel anymore, period. So that's a little something to keep an eye out for. Alright, perfect. So I'm gonna kill this thing, get an extra victory point, and boom. And complete my little task here, which I receive 1 victory point and another red proof, or hint. But next turn I'm probably going to have to spend most of my turn resting and dealing with that. And that's kind of just the sad truth. There's a lot of resting in this game. There's a lot of having to lick your wounds from foul fate and just randomness from other players. Very often there's foul fates that affect everybody and not just you. And that's something that's a little hard to deal with. But, I mean, the game is relatively fair, otherwise. All of the players have their own unique ability. It's something I rather enjoy about it. I think I can actually speed up people, too. So I can actually speed this up to ×5, so that way we don't have to sit through other computers' turns. Which, this is brilliant. I'm really glad they implemented this, because I can just keep up with the side here and see what's going on a little bit. Alright, that went by real quick. You can't do this with players, though. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of some wounds here. Which, boom. Boom jams. Okay, well, let's go ahead and move. We are still kind of looking for red proofs, but, you know, once we get down this area, we're kind of close to where we need to be, and it's going to be easier to do. But this way we can kind of get some of those purples that we want as well. And deal with some monsters down here. Okay, I got draw foul fate or battle. I'm of course going to battle, because battling is fun for me. And I get a place of foul fate in the region. Wonderful. And I receive a foul fate. I'm gonna go ahead and put that on my brew track, because I'm going to have to deal with that later. Alright, so now I can actually do this to play that. I'm not going to because I don't need magic symbols. So I'm just going to go ahead and roll the dice because I need swords and shields. But I do get a Witcher sign, so I actually do get to play something. So basically for each shield I can produce another shield result or a sword result. Let's currently see where I'm at here. I need shield results. But it's not going to be enough to take this guy out for the bad things I'm going to suffer. I mean, I could do it just for kicks, just to show what it looks like. See, look, now I got 2 of those. I can't do anything else. And you're going to have to put, like, all the dice up here. But I suffer a critical wound, which is bad. You'll get to see how this looks. Ow. That takes 1 whole rest in order to get rid of. But on the other hand, I got money, which is nice. Oh, but yeah. I mean, art quality is great. The assets I love in the digital version of this game. I've seen the physical version, and it looks great on the table. You know, definitely if I had to go off the board game scale, you know, for my other videos, I usually go 1 to 10. So we're going to give this a 9. A lot of good graphic design on these cards. It's really easy to read everything. You know, mechanics-wise and component-wise. Oh, somebody beat the game already. Alright, so there. You get to see how the game has ended. She completed her quest, and she has the most victory points. And that's it. So, that's The Witcher. Going back into the final review. Component quality is really excellent. Gonna give that another 8. A little too many cards, but they're easily separated. The monster tokens are a little hard to keep separate, but again, once you have an organization style for that, it goes by really quick. You know, do like what I do with Call of Cthulhu, just put it all in a cup and shake it around. That's really all you need. Or go out and grab yourself some like little baggies from any game store or any craft store. Gameplay. You know, I got kind of this bitter streak in my system for talisman-style games, but, you know, I really do enjoy some of the punishment every now and then. There's nothing like getting a bunch of friends together and playing one of these adventure games, especially when there's just this, you know, animosity that you start to grow on each other from people getting lucky rolls or getting, you know, good cards, and you don't. But, you know, there's times in these games where you can not deal with the runaway leader, and especially in a game like this, unless you suffer foul fates, or specifically try to target somebody with foul fates, it's a little hard to actually hinder somebody. But I've seen in this game where people start getting bashed on really hard, and suddenly they're losing victory points left and right, which is actually really fair, because the loss of victory points doesn't hinder the actual progression of the game, just the win condition. So if you're playing to like a 3-quest end game, you know, people have a chance to actually win, even if somebody completes that 3rd quest, if they've suffered a lot of damage on the way. This is not something I'd play all the time, unfortunately, because of the length and stuff, especially if you're playing like the 3-quest game or the, you know, extended 5-quest game. Your mileage will vary depending on how many players you have as well, and how slow they go. Obviously, if you're playing against a computer here for the digital version, things are going to go by a lot quicker, and you're probably going to have a lot more fun as an exercise of trying to beat the computers. However, it's definitely better as a physical game, and, you know, there's nothing like kicking 3 hours out playing a game like this and just enjoying an afternoon of it. Again, though, I gotta give it a 5 or a 6. Probably a 6. You know, it's an average game. There's a lot of things in here I like, but it feels a little too similar to other games. But it's got more of like a Euro-y feel to it than a Ameritrash or Amerifrash game, as people call it, where you're constantly dealing with rolling dice all the time. In this game, dice is pretty much only used in combat, and the rest of it is kind of resource management, based on what your actions are, where you've taken wounds, and if you're healing. So, that's kind of an interesting way to look at it. Replayability. Games like this usually have a pretty decent replayability because of the fact that They are random to a fault, almost. And you're going to constantly be dealing with a different adventure every time. Not to mention there's 4 characters to play with. So, you know, first come, first serve with the characters, obviously, if you're gotten your own box. But it's an interesting way of dealing with the story and, you know, finding other ways to replay the game. So we're going to give replayability probably, you know, a good 7. You know, just straight up final thoughts. This is a 6, firmly in my wheelhouse. I do enjoy this game. It is fun to play on a tablet. It is fun to play on Steam here. It is much more better with friends, I have to say. Just like Talisman and just like Armello, I definitely recommend playing with somebody physical at least once and opening up a Skype call at least. But as you know, the roll of dice will dictate a lot, and hopefully that's not going to hinder you too much from enjoying a very pretty game and a very thematic game as well. You know, you definitely get that feeling of a dark, grim fantasy world, you know, mired in its own history, and it does show through this design. And Armello had that thing going for it too. So, in short, thank you so much for coming. This has been another Cards and Cardboard digital review. I hope you're enjoying this series. I'm going to go through and find as many board and card games on Steam as I can in the future. If you like this video, make sure you comment, subscribe, do whatever you feel like. Let me know if you're actually watching these or not, because these take me a lot less time to do some editing, and it clears up my wife to do the editing for the other show. So this kind of gives us a little bit more content for the channel. So that's why I'm going to continue to do this. And also it's a great idea to kind of show off what all is coming in Steam and what people are going to expect from digital board games in the future. So, I mean, otherwise, this is a very candid version of myself. This has all been unscripted. So, what's more to say? It's one of these games where you're going to have a lot of interesting things kind of going on here, and I really hope that people enjoy this kind of gameplay. So let me know. I'm not going to go begging for money so I can buy more of these. I'm practically going to do it on my own, but, you know, if something comes up and you want me to play a game, definitely recommend it, or I'll see if I can get a review code or something, and I'll put it on the channel. Alright, thank you very much for dropping by. Have a good day, folks.